History of Perth, Scotland, Perth, Scottish Gaelic. Peairt is a city and former royal burgh in central Scotland. There has been a settlement at Perth since prehistoric times. Finds in and around Perth show that it was occupied by the Mesolithic hunter-gatherers who arrived in the area more than 8,000 years ago. Nearby Neolithic standing stones and circles followed the introduction of farming from about 4000 BC, and a remarkably well-preserved Bronze Age log boat dated to around 1000 BC was found. Early history. The name Perth derives from a Pictish word meaning wood, copse, or thicket, which links the town to the Picts or Britons, of whom the Picts may have been a subset. Perth's original name, and some archaeological evidence indicate that there must have been a settlement here from earlier times, probably at a point where a river crossing or crossings coincided with a slightly raised natural mound on the west bank of the Tay, which at Perth flows north-south. In the early 10th century, the city became an important centre of the Kingdom of Alba, which was later known as Scotland. Perth was often the unofficial capital of Scotland, due to the frequent residence of the royal court there. It was at Scone Abbey that the Stone of Destiny was kept, and on it the kings of Scots were crowned until the coronation of Alexander Roman III 1249–86. 12th and 13th centuries. King David I 1124–53 granted burgh status to the town in the early 12th century, and documents from this time refer to the status of the kirk there. Many of the records taken from this time were the result of the arrival of the Dominicans or Blackfriars. Perth was established by Alexander Roman II 1214–49 by 1240. 14th century English occupation. King Edward I of England brought his armies to Perth in 1296, where the town, with only a ditch for defence and little fortification, fell quickly. Stronger fortifications were quickly implemented by the English, and plans to wall the town took shape in 1304. They remained standing until Robert the Bruce's recapture of Perth in 1312. Late 14th and 15th century. 16th century. Perth was a focal point for the religious conflicts of the 16th century. In 1543, 3 men were hanged for vandalizing a statue of St. Francis. 129. In May 1543, the Blackfriars Monastery was attacked. 130. John Knox began the Scottish Reformation from grassroots level with a sermon against idolatry in the burgh kirk of St. John the Baptist on 11 May 1559. An inflamed mob quickly destroyed the altars in the kirk. There are no visible remains of the pre-Reformation religious houses of Perth, though their approximate locations are perpetuated in modern street names. In August 1600, James VI of Scotland came to Gowrie House, the home of the Provost of Perth, the Earl of Gowrie. As a result of a misunderstanding or a conspiracy, the king's retainers killed the earl and his sons. Records survive from the incorporations of the Perth craft of carpenters and barbers, and the hammermen, metal workers, and others. Apprentices progressing to become master craftsmen in 16th century Perth traditionally had to pay for a banquet and hold a football match. 17th and 18th centuries. Charles Roman II was crowned at Scone, traditional site of the investiture of kings of Scots, in 1651. However, within a year, Oliver Cromwell's parliamentarians, fresh from victory in the English Civil War, came to Perth. Cromwell established a fortified citadel on the South Inch, a large park south of the town, in 1652, one of 5 built around Scotland at this time to overawe and hold down the country. Perth's hospital. Late 18th century to present. In 1760, a new building for Perth Academy was begun, and major industry came to the town, now with a population of 15,000. Linen, leather, bleached products, and whiskey were its major exports, although the town had been a key port for centuries. A permanent military presence was established in the city with the completion of Queen's Barracks in 1793. In 1804, Thomas Dick received an invitation from local patrons to act as teacher in the Secession. The Perth Royal Infirmary was built in 1838 as the Perth City and County Infirmary. The original building, designed by William MacDonald Mackenzie, now houses the A.K. Bell Library. Despite being a garrison town and major developments, social and industrial, during the First World War, given its location, Perth was perfectly placed to become a key transport centre with the coming of the railways. The first railway station in Perth was built in 1848. Horse-drawn carriage became popular in the 1890s, although they were quickly replaced by electric trams. During the Second World War, Perth's main cemetery, Wellshill Cemetery, was enlarged to provide space for the war dead of the Free Polish forces based in Scotland. The graves are in a special section of the cemetery. The gravestones have the Polish eagle engraved on them, and at the entrance to the section is a Polish war memorial.